Granite City, all the surrounding areas. Welcome to In the Metro. I am Brian with a Y, your favorite guy, coming to you live from Studio B out here in Granite City. With me today, I have Nick Drago.
Good evening.
Good evening, Nick. And as always, I've got Engineer Bill. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. Thanks for asking. Go around the horn real quick. How was your guys' weekend?
Oh, nice. It was okay. Very relaxing. Didn't really do anything special, but it was cool.
Right on, right on. Bill, how about you?
Volunteer appreciation. We did trivia. It was good. It was a nice change from karaoke of the previous years.
I'll tell you. When Amy said to me, "Hey, would you like to host our? Would you like to be in?" I was like, "Oh, karaoke? Not karaoke. Trivia. Yeah, I'm game. I'll do trivia. Like, what table would I sit at?" Was my question, and she was like, "No. You would be hosting," and I was like, "Oh, even better." Speaking of which, trivia night was Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We had a really great turnout.
Good.
We had The Office.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Mhm.
And this was interesting because I've never seen The Office before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So would you have to watch a lot of?
I got through season 6 and I wrote some pretty cool questions.
Mhm.
I think my favorite question was probably the last question of the evening, which was in the general knowledge section, what was the most expensive scene shot for the show? And then I gave a 50-point bonus question within $5,000. Can you tell us how much that was?
Yeah.
And
Nobody got it.
there were a lot of great answers as to what scene it was, but the most expensive scene that they ever filmed for that show was the scene in season 5 where Pam gets proposed to by Jim, and it cost them $250,000. And it took them 9 days to build the set. So they built the set in a Best Buy parking lot.
Oh, wow.
And if you look in the background, you see people kind of waiting to get into the gas station. That's never going to exist because it's just a set.
That's great.
And it was just like, oh. And if you've seen the scene, it's very short. It's less than a minute long. And that one scene cost them $250,000.
Gosh.
But you can do that when you've got a show that makes that much money.
We
Yep.
waste a lot of money in this
A
country.
ridiculous amount of money. So that was Friday for me. Saturday, we had our Dungeons and Dragons game.
Mm-hmm.
I am sad to say that my character, Zell Osamar, is now indirectly responsible for letting he's responsible for letting the villain go. The villain was going to kill them kids anyway. Like, he killed 60% of the hostages that he had taken, all children under 12, and he carved into 3 of the kids. Like, hey,
Why did he do that?
I was trying to sweet talk him.
You were trying diplomacy.
I
in
was
a
trying
situation
diplomacy.
that called for murder.
Yes, and I kid you not, I was trying to do the Shonen Jump thing where it's like everybody's a friend,
Mhm.
and it didn't work out so well. So I've decided on how the course of action I'm going to take when I finally get my hands on this guy.
Make your character bitter now.
Bitter? Oh, yeah, he already leans toward chaotic good.
Mhm.
So in that chaos and goodness, I can't say what it is that I plan on doing, but this dude's got to go. The way he's going to go is going to be really exceptional, but he's got to go.
Yeah.
And then Sunday we had our volunteer appreciation dinner.
How was that?
It was great. It took me 2.5 hours to get there.
I saw there was karaoke.
Where was it?
At Freedom Point Church. So
Where's
my
that?
car
Is that that's
it's in
far?
Florissant.
It's in Florissant. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I had to go from South City to Florissant, which required a bus, 3 buses and a train.
Oh,
my car
wow.
is still in the shop.
Oh man.
And I was like, okay, well, okay.
Don't
like,
you miss living in New York City with the public transportation?
Oh yeah, where if I had, and I think Google kind of screwed me on this. Like if I had gotten off earlier, I would have connected to another bus, but it didn't say, "Hey, get off at this stop." So I was like, "Well, where am I supposed to get off?" And it was like, "Get off at this stop." But instead of arriving at 5:19, you're now going to arrive at 6:02. And I'm like, "But why?"
Yeah.
I've been following everything that you've told me to
I
do.
know, right? Mm.
So yeah, it was a bit of a punch in the gut, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I did learn a lot about the public transportation system.
Oh, here,
Yeah,
ours isn't as great as New
people
York.
will smoke anything.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I walked into one train car and it was just weed, and I was like, "Oh, I can't be here because this stinks."
You're gonna walk into church smelling like weed.
Yeah, for
Right.
real. Brian, I didn't know you. No, I swear it had nothing to do with me.
Okay.
Wrong place, wrong time. You guys know it makes me paranoid. Anyway, I do have Mark DeSellum. Today is his birthday, and I want to shout him out. He watches our show pretty regularly. So happy birthday,
Happy
Mark.
birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday.
Today is the 9th of December. My mom's birthday was 6 days ago. It was the 3rd. Happy birthday again, Mom.
Happy birthday.
Shelly Penrod says hi, guys.
Hi, Shelly.
Hey, Shelly, I'm
Hey,
glad
listen.
you're listening.
Glad you're listening. Glad you're watching. Get well soon.
Yes, we were just talking about you.
Yeah, we were talking about you before we went live, and we wish you the speedy recovery. So yeah, so yeah, that was pretty much my weekend. So yeah, it was good though. I've had a chance. I did schedule over the weekend. I did schedule my MLO, my mortgage loan originators test, which, you know, I said I was going to do this, and I'm very much moving forward. Brian with a Y, the finance guy. So the MLO is coming on the 27th. Now it's all about studying and practice tests and getting ready for that. So that's cool. I've been continuing to meet and kind of introduce myself to different real estate agents and see how that's going. That's going well. I can't talk to them officially about anything until I have that certification, but it's cool.
You got this.
Yeah. And I'm actually committed to studying more this time, as opposed to just kind of like, I'll get to it tomorrow. And then tomorrow is tomorrow. So yeah. It's good. It's good. And I'm excited about it. Very, very excited about it.
Right on.
All right. I want to do a quick pivot. I want to talk briefly about things that are happening in the Metro, which is literally the name of our show. So we've got a calendar of events of some things that are going on in Collinsville. And in Collinsville this week, there is on Friday, from Friday to Sunday at Belle Claire Fairgrounds Park, there is a vintage market.
Ooh.
Feel free to take a look at that. It's over on 200 South Belt in East Belleville. On the 14th, let's see, there's live music at Eckert's. Joe Metzga is going to be there, and he's going to be doing his set from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. On the 15th, there is Compassion Christmas at Revive Assembly of God, 1105 Beltline Road in Collinsville, and there's a kids' pajama party as well. It looks like it's open to the public. These are all free events that you can go to. The market, I would venture to say, you probably want to spend some money or get that taken care of. There's also a holiday brunch in O'Fallon, Illinois, over at 455 Regency Park, and it is Bella Milano. So yeah, a couple things that you can go do this week. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And that's it. In Edwardsville. Now, I did see this and I thought this was really, really cool. They are running an adoption event from the 1st to the 17th of this month. Come adopt a pet. It's like $25.
Nice.
It's called the Empty the Shelters Adoption. and it's at 8495 Illinois 143
Mhm.
in Edwardsville.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
if you're feeling the tug, if you want to go,
Christmas is coming.
Christmas is coming.
Yes.
I've heard from people who have gotten rescues. I didn't rescue my pup. My pup rescued me. This may be a way to go. And yeah, I also understand that if you are giving a gift of a pet to another family, very much take in mind and be mindful of the fact that this is a very big responsibility. Like, don't just, oh, I got my niece and nephew a dog. Like,
yeah.
their parents may
It's a
hate
commitment.
you. Like,
It's
it's
the deal.
it's a
It's a
very
big
serious
deal.
commitment. Do it for your own family. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for somebody else.
Don't buy pets for other people.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Because it there's nothing worse than the shelter is a pet being released into the wild afterwards because they're like, yeah, we're not
Right.
doing
I
this.
don't feel like I'm able to take care of this dog
Right.
anymore. So I'm just gonna drive him out to somewhere and let him go live on a farm somewhere. Like that.
That's what
doesn't
happens with rabbits after Easter. People get rid of them. Like, oh, I thought this would be really cool to have a rabbit. No, they're not that cool.
Okay, as a native New Yorker, getting a rabbit seems like a really odd thing.
It happens.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing especially around Easter.
Yeah.
That's
The
so
Easter bunny.
weird.
You know what sugar gliders are?
No,
Those are so
enlighten
cool.
me.
They're, gosh, now I have to explain. I don't even know how to explain these things. They're weird looking little critters.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew one. I didn't even know what they were until I knew this girl, and she had pet sugar gliders, and she had like a big aquarium looking thing, you know, and they would fly around and stuff. And she said she had to clean that thing every day because it smelled so bad. They really produce a strong odor very frequently, and so
Sound like
beware on that.
sound like ferrets.
They're like ferrets. They're very
Ooh.
similar to ferrets.
Ferrets are cute, but man, they smell like unless you clean all the time.
Turtles too.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
turtles.
They don't die, man. You know, Stallone still has his turtle from Rocky.
That's so stupid.
That
Did
makes
you know that?
sense. Charles Darwin, the Galapagos turtle that he had found in the Galapagos Islands,
Mhm.
that turtle just died. I want to say it was a few years ago. It was 173 years old when it finally kicked.
I think I read that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That turtle
man.
knew some stuff, bro.
Civil War and everything,
Right.
man.
Right? Like I think
Gosh.
about there was one woman who she had survived the Spanish flu and COVID.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Spanish flu was the 1918s.
1918, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Like she was a
I think
little
it was
girl at that
1918
point,
started.
and she was over 100 years old. She caught COVID too.
Can you imagine though, being like 100 years old? You're like,
Damn.
son of a, like
Right.
I
again.
lived through one of these things already.
Are you kidding? Before I'm about to go, and we're gonna
Right.
do this, huh?
Right.
And she survived the COVID.
She survived COVID. She got it.
Wow.
She survived it, and it was just like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like,
Wow,
That is
man.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw those old pictures of people wearing masks,
mhm.
stuff. Yeah, it happened.
Oh boy, that right there. Okay. All right. So we are here with Nick because Nick comes in every second Monday and we do conspiracies. So
we try.
to do conspiracies. There have been some developments in
In the Diddy case.
the Diddy case.
Yeah, man. Actually, quite a big development. Since we last talked, he has again tried to be let out on bail, and he has failed. It's his fourth try now. But just today, I read this morning, so it must have just happened yesterday. Okay, there was a civil case against him that alleged that this woman, when she was 13 years old, that she was assaulted, SA'd by Diddy, and she she said, and another man, which she went unnamed. They called him Person A in the thing. And this morning I read that that person A has been named as Jay-Z.
I heard about
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Same.
So, and he came out real quick
Mhm.
and said, nope, this is a blackmail. This is a blackmail attempt. And he kind of sided like, why is this it's only a civil case. Like, you're not trying to come after me criminally, just civil because you want money.
Right.
You know
and
what I mean?
civil cases require less evidence to
Right.
win.
Yes.
So
yes.
you could lose the criminal case, like it happened with OJ.
Oh, yeah.
He
Oh, yeah.
lost the criminal case,
Yeah.
but he won the criminal case, but
Criminal
he
case lost the
the
civil.
civil
Right.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he came back and basically said that it's a blackmail attempt and that he's big long statement, that he said the lawyer has come after him before.
Oh.
Yeah, with some other things, and he feels targeted. And so the thing is, I don't know if there's any evidence or any, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's something I really want to talk about, because you got to be really careful, especially right now with something like this.
Mhm.
We've all, if you're paying attention to this case, you've heard these people coming forward talking about these parties, the things that's going on, the
egregious
yes,
amount of baby oil.
yes. And
Kept
people
Johnson
are
Johnson in business.
yeah, people are actually blackmailed into like performing, in them, or to participating in them.
Right.
They allegedly Diddy like drugs them. He invites them to a party, drugs them, videotapes them doing something, and then shows them the video the next day and said, well, I own you now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's like, and with that, he has gotten people to perform or participate in these parties. But the thing is that we have all heard these stories that it's out there so much that somebody could just make something up now. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, even if you look back at like the Michael Jackson allegations,
Yes,
it was very much a situation of, well, Michael, he did this to my kid, or people would say they would coach their kids like, oh, hey, Michael did this. And Michael, being on a world tour, was like, I can't be in court every day.
right.
How do we get this thing to just go away?
And they know that.
Right. So what would 5 million, 10 million get them to shut up and go away?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, great. Write them a check here. I got to get back to work. Like,
right.
So I think the interesting thing about Jay-Z is not that guy. Like, Jay now, if you look at what like the evolution of his career was, I'm flashy. Look at all the wealth that I've got. Look at me. I'm doing all this really cool stuff. And now he's a lot less like visibly rich because he's been hanging out with Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett's like, you don't like wealthy people don't show off their bling.
We don't walk tigers around.
Right. Like, your nest egg is your nest egg, and let it speak for itself.
Yeah.
You just be the mild, modest man driving the Honda Accord.
Yeah, you don't need $20 million in jewelry on your body at
right.
any given time.
You don't wear your wealth. He was like,
right.
we don't wear our wealth. And it was like, oh, well, and if you look at Jay-Z now, like his hair, I don't know what's going on with it.
Okay?
Right. He's emulating Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because I remember definitely looking and going, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I want to.
He looks familiar. Is really the hairstyle.
It's.
I don't think he's going to drop down to driving a Buick like Warren Buffett, though.
Oh, absolutely not.
That is funny, though.
That's not a thing. But Warren was like, dude, put the Rolls Royce and the Maserati away. Just like,
those are depreciation factors, bro.
Right.
I want to say this. I'm not saying that he, that I believe him to be guilty or not guilty of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that come out and said a lot of things, and I mean, that's, we'll see. We'll let justice, figure that out. But I think what I want to make a point about is that it's dangerous to just believe somebody because they say what they're saying with conviction.
Right.
Or, I don't know. And I made a big mistake going down the conspiracy highway there, the rabbit hole, so to speak, believing people because of the wrong reasons. Well, he was right about this, so he must be right about this and that. And yeah, well, he says this, so yeah, and that's really dangerous. Do you remember John Mark Carr? You remember that name? Okay, he said that he was with John Benet Ramsey when she died.
Okay.
This was in 2004 or 6. It's around there, and he was in Singapore. And was it Singapore? He was in Thailand. I know. Yeah, he was in Thailand. And this man, undercover investigator, was speaking to him on the phone. First, they were emailing, and then they started speaking to each other on the phone. And John Mark Carr said that he was with Jean Benet when she died, and he went on, and he talked about being a pedophile. And he talked about different types of sexual activity he engaged in, and all that. And he talked about Jean Benet for hours on the phone, hour after hour with this investigator. And this investigator finally got over to Thailand to bring him back. You know what I mean? They brought him back. And they're like, we got him. We got this guy. He's been confessing. He's got it. And everybody went crazy. And then his ex-wife said he was nowhere near Boulder, Colorado that Christmas. He was with me. We were still married, and we lived in, I don't know, South Dakota or something.
Wow.
They tested his DNA. Nope, not the guy.
So he's just crazy, or?
Well, everybody was just like, he's not going to say all this and not be telling the truth. He's telling too many states. He's not going to talk that. You know what I'm saying? He's, on and on, for hours. He's got to be telling the truth. No, he was lying. I'll tell you why he was lying, and it was actually very ingenious on his part. He had a case pending in Thailand.
Oh,
Do I
so
have
they
to explain
extradited him.
Wow.
So he said, hey, I know how these guys will come over and rescue my ass. I'll tell them that I, did this. And then
listen.
And man, he got him, and they got him. And then, he got over in the States, and they figured out he's not the guy. No, they're not going to send him back over.
Right.
No, they let him
Now,
go.
I thought it might have just been him being an attention junkie. Right.
There is that too.
Right.
You know.
But if you remember, what was the kid's name? In the 90s, he was out spray painting in Singapore. And
Michael Fay, man. Yeah. You don't want to get in trouble over there.
They don't play like it's a beast of a different nature. People go, oh man, it's terrible. Yes, it is terrible how many Americans are imprisoned. Okay.
Yeah.
But being imprisoned in America is almost like a country club. You go overseas to some of those prisons, and it's
a lot of those countries still have forced labor.
Yeah. Like, forget the dude with the tattoos on his face. Okay. I remember helping to sponsor a missions trip at one of my churches, and they were like, look, you guys are going to go minister in this prison.
Oh, really?
That's cool. Stay in Gen Pop. And this was, I want to say was it Brazil? It was somewhere in South America. And they said, if they ask you to go back to their jail cell to show you something, don't go, because we're not coming to get you out.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Like these guys are no joke. Especially down in South America. Like one thing that you can do to get out of the gang is, become a Christian. Okay, cool. You claim Christianity, Catholicism, whatever it is.
Really?
You can, but they will watch you, because if they find out that you are doing it just for the sake of getting out, and you're off living your best life,
you're over in Vegas,
you're doing all of the things, they will kill you. Like, they're not even playing.
They got time to be watching you.
They got people, low-level people who are there, who are just, their job is just to watch you. And they watch your family.
Sounds like they're more organized than our entire justice system here.
Right.
Dude calls off work, and it's like, I'm gonna sit outside his house and make sure, because the union wants to make sure.
Like you're sitting over there, and dude drops the F-bomb, and he's like, oh no.
Baby Christian. Like, oh, I'm still learning this. Okay. I it's a slip. I didn't mean to.
Wow.
Okay. But but yeah, so I feel, I want to get back to this. So dude is in Thailand.
Mhm.
He gets extradited to the States.
Yeah, they go over a big media frenzy, everything. Yeah,
And it turns out he's just full of crap.
right. They just let him go.
So he got
Just let
out
him
of his
go.
case in Thailand.
Yeah,
Because
wow.
Thailand probably
Free as
doesn't
a
have the
bird.
resources to send somebody out here to go
to go
grab
get
him.
him. Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But the thing is you never know. There's always more to the story.
Mhm.
You know, we had no idea why this guy was saying these things, and we wanted it to be true because we wanted to find the guy. You know what I mean?
We also wanted Lance Armstrong to be the guy. To
Yeah. Oh, sure.
beat
Sure.
testicular cancer
Sure.
and come back and win 7 Tour de France's.
But, you know, there are, like you said, there are attention junkies. You know what I mean? The Zodiac killer. There were
Mhm.
people that said they were the Zodiac killer, the Black Dahlia killer.
Mhm.
People said they were. It's like, what do you have to gain? You know, I mean, you want a life sentence? You want the electric chair? I mean, it's
There are all kinds of odd people. There are people that literally want to be infected with HIV.
yeah, I heard about something like that.
Like they seek it.
Yeah, I've heard about that because of benefits and things like that.
Yeah,
That's
like
why.
give it to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
like literally look. It's so odd. It just there's weird things that people.
There's always more to the story. You know?
That's got to be one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard. But I also, I don't know. It's a mixed bag. People are really, really weird, and I think as long as humanity is humanity, people will always be people. I guess
People are hard work, man.
Oh, they are.
How many jobs are you? It's like, okay, it's not that hard, but it's dealing with these people that are
Mhm.
really hard. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I could never be one of those people like a benefits office or some sort of mental facility or something because I don't know that I can handle it.
The amount of work that it takes.
About the first time the person comes in with the like I'm in love with my inanimate object, I'd be like, "Are you stoned? Like permanently? Like no, that's just not a thing. Like I love my car. Oh, okay.
I do too.
No. They love their
I
car.
also love pizza.
They love their car sexually. That's the problem.
That tailpipe is only.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
Have you ever seen the movie Crash? No, there's two movies called Crash. One was an Oscar winning movie, multi-star cast, and then
Mhm.
there's another one called Crash by David Cronenberg, and basically the plot is these people get like they have a sexual fetish. Car accidents are like a sexual fetish for them.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. So they'll even like simulate them. They'll like make it happen. They'll recreate car accidents and stuff. And yeah, it's weird.
Oh, this was the
Weird
1996 version.
Crash.
Yes.
Oh yeah. James
There-
Spader.
But still, I mean, like, there's people out there eating Tide Pods. Come on, it's just
I don't know. Were they really eating Tide Pods though?
well, one kid literally went to the hospital and it ended up killing him.
Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I
Enough.
also kind of blame parenting and the education system for lack of direction and don't eat laundry detergent. How can you not have guided your children into, hey, these are the things that are going to kill you if you do them even once?
Yeah.
So I
You
have a
know?
theory about this, and it goes into the 23andMe story.
Mhm.
All right, we're gonna do a pivot. All right.
Mhm.
So 23andMe, we talked about this before. Back in September, 7 of their board of directors just like stepped away. They resigned.
Yeah.
Yep.
The company
All at once,
apparently has never been profitable. Since 2006, this company has never been profitable.
How can you
Look at-
not be profitable?
So check this.
I
Back-
swab my cheek and you tell me what origin I am. Like,
right. So here, let me pull this up real quick. So super quick, basic history of 23andMe. It went live in 2006. They went public, and it was a private company. All right.
mhm.
In 2021, they went public, and they sold a bunch of shares to help improve,
Yeah.
Mhm.
whatever.
Get capital. Yep.
Get capital, which is ultimately what a company does when it's going public.
Yeah.
The company at that point was worth $6 billion. It is now worth $120 million.
Wow.
This
Wow.
is the nightmare of nightmares. And what's crazy is they have an absolute bomb product, but it's a one buy only. Like if you look at, let's say, Microsoft doesn't do, oh yeah, Microsoft Office, but then they have their service plan to continue keeping
Right.
to generate
even with their sold products, I mean, copies of Windows, copies of Office, all of the other products that they offer, like their stuff to, even if they didn't have cloud subscriptions, they proved to be way profitable way before cloud ever existed.
Right. The issue with 23andMe is that they've never really been profitable. So I have the information here.
My question is, while you're looking that up though, how can you not? So like, obviously you do the whole mouth swab thing. It's mail in. So you mail it to the person, they mail it back after they've swabbed their mouth, and you give them results.
Right.
And they pay X amount of dollars. I don't know what the cost is, but like, obviously you would get some sort of agreement with some company that's doing your DNA testing for you. And it would be dirt cheap, I'm sure. Where's the other cost? Unless they hired a metric ton of employees and just went overboard with it. Like,
well,
where's the cost?
Yeah.
Since 2006, so in the last 18 years, they only have 7 million, less than 8 million people who have used their service.
Okay.
And the issue is the company reported a net loss of $667 million last fiscal year. So
what are they spending the money on?
I'm looking at their ancestry kit, right? You can do a buy two for $99 right now. It's basically buy one, get one free. Okay. There's an ancestry service that I don't think people are really like.
No, people are in it to be like, what am I? Am I German? Am I Irish?
Right.
What percentage? So I can call a heritage,
But what does that lead to? Once you know that information, what more is there?
Nothing. Ancestry.com stuff.
Right.
Which is what they should offer in.
So they've got these premium subscriptions. They've got stuff for there's a health and ancestry service. There's the 23andMe premium. That's like it's $268, but right now it's on sale because it's Christmas. So it's 50% off. $129 is what they're, and then the membership renews at $70 a year.
See, I think that's too expensive. And we'll briefly talk business here. I don't want to drag it out too far, but like, wanting to know your ancestry until you get old and you have nothing better to do, and it's no offense to anybody that's old out there, but everybody needs a hobby, and that's why people take up like stained glass making and pottery making and all that kind of stuff when they get old, because there's nothing better to do. You're retired.
Bowling.
I get it. But until you get to that age where it's like, oh, I really want to delve into my family history and figure out where I'm going or where I came from, it's really just kind of a fleeting thought. And if I were to get on a website and say, okay, I can swab my mouth for $100 and figure out what I am. Okay, I'm Irish. I'm 80% Irish. That's cool. And I can trace my heritage back to Ireland. And if I could pay a small fee to get that ancestry glimpse and kind of where we're coming from, like, then maybe I would do that. But I'm not paying $300 for it.
Yeah.
So first of all, sir, it's $129.
Not paying $129.
It renews for $69 a year.
Yeah, no.
But I'm intrigued because their total health package, I don't know what it entails. Actually, let's click on it. Let's see what it entails, because it's $999 a year, but now it's 50% off, so it's $499.
$999 a year.
Yes, and it talks about 23 chromosome pairs, 55 blood biomarkers, 200 times more answers, total health, the sum total of living your healthiest life. So I guess
they're going to send somebody to your house to do blood work.
Yeah, but then they're going to tell you about hereditary breast cancer. If, let's say, somebody was adopted, and this doesn't, I guess this would be perfect for somebody who was. Creatine levels, blood urea nitrogen.
Yep. So they're doing a CBC.
They're doing a full blood panel and trying to figure out what's going on with you. And I guess this is something that you just do for $1,000 a month, a year.
So that's a cool idea. And
it seems like a very niche market, though.
It is a very niche market, because here's the problem. Let's say that you're a female and I send my people out and they take your blood and they say, hey, you have a very high probability of breast cancer. Okay. Well, you're going to get mammograms at certain points in your life anyway. And you might convince your doctor to push through your insurance to get you a mammogram earlier.
Right.
But you're only going to be able to convince them to cover so much. So with your $1,000 a year that you're paying, you're only going to be able to convince your healthcare provider to do so much more. Like I could not go at the age of 19, 20, 21 and be like, I need a prostate exam because I have a high level of probability of prostate cancer. They're going to be like, no, your insurance is never going to take, like the insurance is going to go pre-authorization. No.
Right. Which,
like, so you're wasting your money.
Which interestingly enough takes us into our next topic.
Oh, wow. We just kind of,
yeah. I'm doing these segues a whole lot better today.
It worked really well. But yeah, like they would literally,
they'd laugh you right out of the room.
I'm not saying that it's not a bad thing, but then of course, where does it bring in the realm of turning somebody into a hypochondriac as well?
Right.
Because like if I sat here and I said, Brian, you will die on December 7th, 2041. You're going to get hit by a bus. You would be freaking paranoid.
Up until that day, I'd be, you got to understand.
And yeah, well,
I'd be living my best life.
Right.
Like you best believe I would, prior to that day,
but like
I would take out like a $4 million life insurance policy.
Oh, and then by the way, I'm sorry, we were wrong. I meant there's a 3% chance you'll get hit by a bus. My bad.
So I took out that loan from like one of those loan shark places, knowing that I wasn't going to know.
You are going to die, just not by a bus.
Not that day. Dude, that sucks on so many levels.
But no, like, I think it would, knowing like, okay, so grandma had cancer and her mom had cancer. And so cancer runs in the family. That's one thing. Like it's a, it happened with them. I should probably watch out for it. So the doctors, that's why doctors collect that information. Is there any history of this, that, or the other in your family? Heart disease, cancer, this and that. They collect that because, okay, well, I might want to watch out when this person gets to the age where that starts becoming a thing. But I think if you told somebody like, hey, we did your blood work and we did some genetic sampling and looked at all this stuff and you're at a high risk of getting XYZ, that's mentally impacting.
Yeah.
So I've talked about my dad before several times. And one of the things that they I want to hit that dude so hard. I'm so serious. Lord forgive me. Well, I didn't hit him, so I guess there's nothing to be forgiven of, but I definitely thought about it. There are like 6 markers for leukemia, right? And my dad has elevated protein levels. And that's like the thing. So it's one of 6 and they're like, oh, we got to look out for leukemia. And I'm like, but why? Like 2, I could understand. 3, I definitely get. You're talking about 1. And you guys have him on this blood pressure medication that he was on when he was 215 pounds. And now he's 175 pounds and you haven't lowered his dosage. So of course his kidneys are working harder than they ordinarily would be, because what do blood pressure medication do? It gets the water weight out. It gets you pee a whole lot more. So outside of whatever prostate issues he's got, because he's 81 years old and he can't sleep a full night without having to go to the bathroom 2-3 times a night. Now you're talking about, oh, he might have leukemia. What kind of psychological impact do you think you have on him? And when I brought up not all of that, but just, have we talked about his medication? Like, dude completely overtalked me. And I've never wanted to hit a guy with glasses so hard. Like, I'm so serious. But it's the medical profession, being what it is very much about making money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're segueing into our third story about Brian Thompson. I'd say CEO.
Former CEO.
Former CEO. Late CEO.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah. And for those of you who have not heard about this story,
how could you not?
And I don't know how. Like, if you've been on any social media
you live on another
whatsoever,
planet.
if you've watched any kind of news whatsoever in the last week, you've heard about the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, who I kid you not, like I saw his name the first day that it happened, and I was like, oh wow, that's crazy, because I have a friend named Brian Thompson. In fact, Leanne's brother, his name is Brian Thompson, and that was like a thing. In any case, hi Brian. In any case, yeah, I was like, geez, I wonder what happened. Well, so dude was in Midtown Manhattan a couple days ago, and somebody in a mask and a hood and all that good stuff walked up to him, put 3 shells. Well, they put 3 slugs in him. They left the shells, and he died. He passed away. What I find most interesting about this story, outside of the unaliving, is how we don't get canceled,
Yes.
I guess. The unaliving of this person is he's kind of just been restricted to the CEO, the UHC CEO. Like people aren't even using his name. They're just kind of like, oh yeah. And it brings up a lot. It brings up a lot of questions, like how many people were unalived in New York, or heck, St. Louis, East St. Louis,
any big city,
big city, right? And nobody really cares because they don't.
You don't even hear the story.
All right, there's
The
a manhunt. There was a manhunt for this guy,
Right.
or there
Yeah.
will,
the qualifications,
we'll see.
the economic qualifications to be
Yeah.
relevant.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I'm still interested in hearing the story.
Yeah, because it's still developing, folks.
Here's the thing. I was reading about this earlier, this dude, and he was the valedictorian of his class, high school. Normal guy.
The dude they found in Altoona?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normal guy. He's 26. Everybody's like, he was a great guy, super smart, super funny. Like everybody liked him. Never thought anything of it. I and Amy also are like, okay, who got denied coverage for something
Right.
by United Healthcare? And he's like, okay, you deny coverage, I deny your right to live.
And he remember he on the bullet casings he wrote the words deny, defend, and depose. Yes,
which are like the 3Ds
yeah.
of like healthcare. Because if you ever said to them, "Hey, I would like to do something proactively,"
oh yeah, no,
instead of reactively,
you have to pay for that out of pocket.
Yeah, like what?
I'm honestly really surprised. These more holistic medicine centers, and I'm not talking about the ones that are just like apothecaries and that's the only thing they'll do, but the ones that offer more holistic things, like there's some that are offering like IV infusions of vitamins and minerals and stuff, which is actually not a bad idea. But I'm really surprised that they haven't gone and tried to buy like a CT machine. I know a lot of them are doing their own in-house x-rays now and different things that like normally you cannot get approved through insurance. Like you have to have, and you have to go through so many other different things. I think you and I were talking about this, the friend that I had who's like had to go get the cortisone shots, obviously needed surgery, but the insurance required like 6 to 12 months of cortisone shots before a surgery. And all the time that he's doing this, he's damaging it even further, because now I don't have the pain, but I'm still inflicting damage on the destroyed joint, you know. And there are just so many things, like the story I told you. I was on a medication for a year. The insurance company approved it for a year.
And then they said,
and then all of a sudden they're like, nope, no more. And the doctor's like, no, he needs this. And they're like, yeah, no.
Yeah, we've updated our terms and conditions.
It's a cholesterol medication. It's not even anything out of the ordinary.
Right.
You know, like these are the kind of things that they do. And my case is just like nothing in comparison to the stuff that they do with people with cancer treatments and stuff. I mean, there are situations where people die because they can't afford the treatment because the insurance is like, nope. Like, and they know whoever these, you know, pre-authorization people are who also don't have medical license and are practicing medicine. They know that this is probably a death sentence for the person because it's unaffordable. I mean, when I went through chemotherapy, I saw the bills before insurance paid, and it was astronomical. There's no way.
It's nothing like, oh, you know, it's $50.
No.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, hundreds of thousands of dollars for chemotherapy. And if you're not on insurance, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not going to lie. I definitely was a little smitten with this one. in the comment section, because there were a lot of people who were covering this, and in the comment section, somebody said, "Oh, hey, yeah, so it's $10,000 reward is what is being offered," and the comment was, "That doesn't even cover my deductible."
No.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
what do I care?
Right.
And I think what it comes down to, and I remember this one scene in an episode of Shameless where they were trying to and Shameless takes place in Chicago. Well, the US version anyway, takes place in South City, Chicago, and it's not exactly a very savory place, and it's very neighborhoodly and stuff. But there was this one street light that was out. It's like, oh, okay, well, can't we just tell them to put in a new one? Well, yeah, we've tried that, but based on the neighborhood that it's in, no one's coming. So what they did was they got this white girl from a pretty posh neighborhood. Her family was, well connected. Dad made a lot of money, whatever. And they staged an altercation at this bus stop where the light was supposed to be.
Wow.
And then it became news. Oh my gosh, we have to replace the light because this white girl.
Never would have happened.
And it's like,
Wow.
why does it have to take this extreme level of
I mean, look at the people who have gone
convincing?
Like there's pothole hotlines in most cities where you can report it. But like the most action that I've seen is when people get on social media and they'll be like, look at this pothole, it's the size of Texas. And like they just keep hammering it. And finally the city comes out and redoes it. So like you've got the capability, you've got the money. You're just not doing it because
it's not a high enough priority.
Right. It's not important to you. I feel like the same process happens with pretty much any large company. We've talked about this before on the show where like Congress has interviewed bank CEOs like, hey, you've got tellers making minimum wage, whatever that is in your state, and they're having to work 2 and 3 jobs and still not making ends meet. And you're raking in hundreds of billions of dollars in profit in the year. That is after earnings and tax and depreciation and everything. At the end of the year, in the bank goes hundreds of billions of dollars. And you can't ethically just stand out on ethics and go, hey, you know what? Our bank tellers probably shouldn't make $9.75 an hour. They probably shouldn't, because in the area where we live, that's not a real livable wage.
Right.
Like I feel the same way about, like, I get it. I get it as a CEO and as a board of directors. You have to look out for your shareholders. People are not going to invest in your company if they can't get a return on investment. But where's the cap on that before you step back and say ethics?
Right.
Yeah. I should be taking care of the person purchasing my product.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to cut this out and cut that out. It's going to make us, or we're going to start charging X amount of dollars more. I mean, it was how many years ago that the douchebag that was like, we're going to hike up this drug. And what drug was it?
It was I think it was insulin.
Yeah, a diabetes drug.
Insulin, yeah.
And he's just like, because we can.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason.
No, people need it.
It costs pennies on the dollar to manufacture.
Yeah, people need it.
But
so
you know what?
it.
I'm the one that makes it, so screw you. It's $4,000 or whatever the astronomical price was, and it's unaffordable. Like, to the point where other companies are feeling bad, and they're like, listen, just come by our pharmacy and we'll give it to you for $35.
Yeah.
We got people like figuring out what animal medications they can take to supplement things, like from Rule King and such, because like, hey, it's the same med, but it's $20 for my horse. I just got to figure out the dosage, like these types of things happening because they figured out, like, I can take this drug that people want and mark it up astronomically, and there's nothing they can do about it. And also in other medications, and I don't have an example of one, but I was listening to another podcast that was talking about this. There are certain medications that they just won't make anymore, or few manufacturers make, because there's no profit in it. Totally still needed. Totally still needs to be a thing, but they just won't make it because there's no money in it. Like, there's no ethics when it comes to a lot of these places. And you sit there and you watch them in these hearings where they're talking to like members of Congress or whatever, and they're just, they got the look on their face like, well, I don't know exactly, or like they're just trying to cover their butts.
Right.
like freaking Tim Cook in a congressional meeting about antitrust stuff with the Apple Store and only accepting the Apple payment system. You know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody finally said enough is enough, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
took the matter in their own hands, and they shot the CEO dead.
Right.
And now what? Is it going to happen again? And did they get the right guy or what?
So based on all the information that I've seen, and we were talking about this briefly before the show, I don't think they did. The dude who committed this atrocity, he was wearing very dark clothing, tan backpack, kind of a khaki beige color backpack, and that was the thing. Like, the guy that they found and they are suspecting, the colors are inverted, and unless they're using some sort of facial recognition software
with the potato cam that they had the one picture
Yeah.
of him on.
Yeah, I'm talking about, like, this camera here that's on me has better resolution than the camera.
That's another thing. Listen, I'm about 2 seconds away from asking for an investor to help me start a company that we can go around to every one of these banks, every one of these Starbucks, and be like, hey, can we get you some cameras in here that aren't junk?
Mhm.
Like, literally every time I see, oh, there was a robbery at blah, blah, blah. It's like, I can't, he's a white guy. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to say guy because it might be a chick. I can't tell.
Uh-huh.
You
So,
know?
I'm friends with Graham. Oh, what is his last name? It's been years since we've spoken, but he was part of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement, and he told me something that kind of blew my mind. He said there would be sometimes, like, just, we need to show activity. We don't know who did what, but in the jurisdiction that he was in, it was very much like, okay, so this crime was committed. We are looking for a suspect who is, and they would give this description. And it was something so far off base because no one had ever actually seen this person. And it's like, well, why are we looking for this guy? We've got like 4 guys who meet this description here.
Right.
Like, what did we? Oh yeah, it was, and it's a completely different description when you look at the guy who is actually a suspect. And it's like, he's 5'2". You said 5'9", or 6'4", or whatever. Like,
You said middle-aged white guy. It's a teenager.
right? Like, how did we get this? How did we get this? Because we have to make it look like we're moving forward in this investigation. And anytime I mean, this dude who they've got in custody, who they want, person of interest, doesn't look like a white guy. Might be Latino.
He's Italian. Yeah.
Okay. European white guy.
I find it very interesting that he was very careful with the things that he did. Obviously, I guess, tripped up in the Starbucks and took his mask thing down, and they took a picture of him, but he used things that he could be tracked with to buy travel with. Like,
right.
That's like
Well, yeah.
101, like, come on.
Well, this guy that they found arrested at the McDonald's, his name is Luigi Mangione, and they found a gun. Someone sees him in the McDonald's, says he looks like that guy. They call the police. The police get there, and he just so happens to have a backpack with a gun in it and 4 fake IDs.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Do you know where Altoona, Pennsylvania is?
No.
I've been to Altoona.
Yeah.
Of course you have.
No, seriously. Like, you're right.
You've been everywhere, bro.
I'll tell you the joke of how I met the Pope.
Oh,
anyway,
my gosh.
So Altoona, Pennsylvania is about an hour to 90 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, like east of Pittsburgh. It's a small town. It is really, more than anything else, known for how much meth people do there.
Oh.
But that was the first place that I had Yingling, because
Yeah.
Yingling is a Pennsylvania based, and we got mini pictures for like $2 or $3.
Like, I feel like with the bullets and what he wrote on those, and the backpack with the Monopoly money in it and all that, like, it felt like it, and the weapon with the silencer, like, you went through all these different things to get caught buying transportation with something that could track
Come
you.
on, bruh.
Like,
Well, what do you mean buying?
like they say
transportation?
that they know that he bought transportation with something and
Like
and knew
tickets
that he
on
was
the
in the
bus,
area.
Greyhound or
Yeah.
something like
Mhm.
that.
Like those just
With a
seem
fake
like
ID or-
trivial things. I don't know. They just said they were able to identify that he purchased transportation, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, if you're playing MacGyver and Vigilante with all the secret stuff, and you're a smart valedictorian and all that other stuff, like you missed those like pretty crucial steps to not pay for anything except for in cash. Like,
Yeah. Look,
Yeah.
the person who did it, I believe, is still very much out there. This is one of those situations where we have to drum up a lot of activity to make it seem like we're moving forward on this.
we'll see if they release him.
Because
We'll see if they release him.
yeah, we'll see. We'll
Maybe
see.
it was just a psycho. No,
I-
they'll keep him on some other charge, like the fake IDs or they said the gun was 3D printed. I heard somebody
Oh, I
said
don't know about that. I don't
GTFO,
know.
get out.
Yeah, like
Are you
Wow.
a
serious?
I
ghost
didn't know
gun.
that. I
They
didn't
said a
know
ghost
that.
gun.
Oh,
Yep.
come on. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Wow.
so we're, the 5 young black boys, the Central Park 5. Okay, cool. Like it's a matter of just getting some sort of, we got to keep it in the press. We got to let people know what's
Mhm.
going on.
That
That's
we're working
right.
on it. We've got hot leads.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
And
mean, they-
Bigfoot is Batman. Okay.
He might be.
I
Justice.
mean, the guy did have a gun on him that looked like the guy. I mean,
Right.
That's
he
true.
had
I mean,
4
he
fake
may-
IDs, and they said they thought it was him, and somebody else that looks like him
Maybe
has a
he-
gun and 4 IDs.
Maybe it's him. Maybe he only watched a half episode of MacGyver. I
There
don't
you
know.
go.
Gee.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Oh,
It's today was an interesting day because we got the Jay-Z thing, and they made this arrest. It was like, whoa.
yeah.
was a lot.
What's going on? Much like the 23andMe thing and the Diddy thing dropped on the same the same weekend. And I feel like it's a magic trick. It's smoke and mirrors. It's very much, this is what we need to keep people doing and focused on, but this is what's happening in the background.
Well, and the UFO stuff is still very much going on, and literally nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
I think, I'll just say one thing on that before we go, and that's, I think really the powers that be, that's all I'm going to go that vague with it,
Mhm.
and say they want to just keep us talking about it and thinking about it and stuff like that, but they're not going to say anything. They're not ready to say anything yet. You know what I mean? They're not. Every time they get close to saying something, they're like, oh, no, we don't. We have this report that says, no, we don't know anything. You know what I mean?
It really does make
they
me
go
wonder.
back and forth with it.
Mhm.
It really does make me wonder, though, if they're putting this out there, just little tidbits here and there, just to get people used to it.
I totally think that's what's going on.
That way, when they're
think
like,
that's what's going
hey,
on.
by the way, they are here and they have been in the oceans, and by the way, this is who they are.
Yeah.
It's among us.
We're like, oh, okay. Well, you've kind of been telling us that for the past 10 years. Okay. Like,
They
cool.
really they're not even saying anything new. You know what I mean?
No.
I know these drones. You hear about these drones though in New Jersey, the size of SUVs.
I
they say.
did.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
That is weird. Did you hear about the guy that shot the Walmart drone above his house?
No.
Yeah, old man. He's like, it's over my property. Shut it down.
Wow.
They had to come arrest him.
Boy, he loved doing that.
For discharging a weapon. And
Well, and then they had to go look at the legality of it too, and I haven't heard anything back because you do own a certain amount above
airspace
and below your house, but I think it's like 4,000 feet, which is really low, and you don't fly anything that's anyway. But yeah, so like he might be legally just in shooting down a Walmart drone. I don't know.
Well, okay.
I don't know.
He's
like
what
70 something, so
Yeah.
it's almost comical.
Get
like,
off my lawn.
right, no damn drones.
All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap today up with today's finance tip of the day, and I'm gonna see if I can get this done inside like 3 minutes.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of not necessarily call and response, but definitely like it's fairly interactive. I'm gonna write some stuff down. I'm gonna show it to you. Okay. So we're going to talk about life insurance today. Okay. It's not September. It's not Life Insurance Awareness Month, but we're definitely going to talk about it. And I want to share with you guys 2 different plans and you're going to tell me which one makes the most sense for you. Okay. So the first plan I'm drawing up right here is a policy that is worth $100,000. Can you see that?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. It's really like super blurry. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
I'll put this in the show notes. Okay. It has two different types attached, two different parts attached to it. All right. You have some that's savings, insurance, and some that's savings. All right. And for this, it's $100 a month. And with that $100 a month, you get a little bit of insurance and you get a little bit of savings. After 20 years, you're going to have $24,000 saved. Okay. So what we're looking at here is basically after 20 years, you have all the money that you've put into this thing, you can get it back. And I'm going to ask you, does this sound like a really good plan?
I mean, I don't think so because I think I could have invested that extra money. Okay.
Does the normal person think this is a pretty good?
Oh, it sounds great. I get all
Okay,
that money
cool.
back in 20 years.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically in 20 years, it's paid for itself.
Mhm.
Right, Nick?
Mhm.
All right, cool. So now I have another plan here.
Sorry.
You and I are fairly similarly trained when it comes to this.
Yeah. Okay.
This one is just insurance and it's the same $100,000 worth of coverage. And this is only $35 a month. And over the 20 years, you get nothing back. So it's $35. It's more bang for your buck because it's the same coverage for less money, but you get nothing back. So if I ask the normal person, like, is this a good plan? What would most people say?
No.
No, you get nothing back. This one, you get all your money back. We'll call this one plan A. Okay. I even wrote this in a different color. I think I need a marker. Anyway, plan A and plan B, you get nothing back. All right, cool. I want to do a quick pivot and talk about savings. All right. When it comes to savings, we're going to look at if you have a certain dollar amount per month and you're investing every single month. We talked about dollar cost averaging a few months ago with Chuck here. If you have the same amount of money every month and you invest that over the course of 20 years, what you have is whatever you were investing monthly times 1,000. Okay. This is a very interesting rule. Dollars per month times 20 years equals 1,000. Cool. Dollar times 1,000. Cool. So yeah. So if you were $100 a month, $100 a month, you put 3 zeros behind it. $100 a month is what you're saving. What have you got?
4. How long?
Oh, for 20 years using the same formula. So dollars per month times 20 years at a 12% return. Excuse me. That's the other at 12%. We're looking at whatever that dollar amount is times 1,000. So if you had $50 a month, 50 in the same kind of thing,
Mhm.
you've got $50,000. All right. So if you just put 3 zeros behind it. If you had $37 a month in this same thing, what would it be?
I can't do the math.
30. It's 3 zeros behind it. So there's 37,000.
Okay, 37.
Okay, cool. And $20 a month, it's 20,000.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So this is interesting because it's called the rule of 1,000. Okay, let's not talk about investing anymore. Let's talk back to what we were doing before. And what we were talking about is the insurance and the savings, and then the insurance. Now, what's the difference between these two plans? This one you get your money back
Right.
after 20 years, and this one you get nothing
you
back.
don't, right?
What else is different?
You're putting a lot more initial investment in.
Right? So the premium is different,
Mhm.
right? But what else is different is there's a $65 difference between these two plans.
Mhm.
Okay. So this $65 difference, 65 plus 35 equals 100, correct?
Mhm.
So plan A would be 100. Plan B would be also 100. That's $65 every single month. If we looked at that $65 a month and we plug that into the rule of 1,000, how much would you have in savings in plan B? 65, add the 3 zeros, you're looking at $65,000.
Mhm.
In the same amount of time, that's 65K, in the same amount of time that you would get $24,000 saved here, you've got $65,000 saved here. And it's the same layout. So what this is what's called buy term and invest the difference. This here up top is called whole life insurance. This here on the bottom is term insurance. I'll be super brief with this. In the event that the 20th year, when you've got $24,000 saved, if the person who was insured died, what they would end up with is, in essence, $100,000, right? But where does that 24,000 go?
I'm sure you don't get it.
Oh yeah, the family does not get it.
Nope.
Mhm.
The insurance company keeps it. So they're really, even if they were to give it back, they're really only giving back like $76,000.
Right.
So they're
Yeah.
really only on the hook. Like you're kind of insuring yourself, but they're not on the hook for the whole 100.
I would rather you, versus plan A, I would rather you just invest that extra money in a freaking bank savings account. That'd be better than what you're doing there.
Probably yes.
The yield is at least better than zero.
It is better than zero. But also 12% is better than
Right,
what
right,
they're offering
Right.
here.
Like if you're not
So-
going to go complicated, like it's not even that
Right.
complicated.
And
I mean,
12% over 20 years, you can find a good quality mutual fund. We talked about mutual funds a couple weeks ago with
Probably
Kelly
go-
and
bury a bar of gold in your backyard and be better off. Like, come on.
but yeah, so yeah, that's the tip. Buy term and invest the difference.
Mhm.
Also, in the event that in 20 years you were to pass away, your family would get the 100,000 plus the 65,000. So you kind of win anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting stuff. Oh man.
Drop that extra money in the Vanguard. You'll be better off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Spike the punch. That's the I kid you not. That's the it says here a new Alex Leahy sticker. I got my ass kicked and all I have to show for it is this Alex Leahy sticker. It's from her song Spike the Punch. And it's not on her album. The answer is always yes, but yes. And as I mentioned, she's up for coming out in
That'd be awesome.
April, end of March. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us, spending part of your Monday with us, or if you're watching it Tuesday, or any other day of the week. Thank you guys for spending some time with us. I'm Brian with a Y in Studio B. Thank you, Nick, for coming out. This has been,
it's a pleasure.
I definitely appreciate this.
Oh.
I really do.
I
Your
love coming
insight-
out. Love talking to y'all.
Yeah. And I love
Absolutely.
chatting with you. Bill, thank you for coming out as always every Monday. Next Monday, we have Robert Nelson. He'll be
Okay.
back for another Money Monday.
Sweet.
We'll talk some more like debt stuff and money stuff. And we actually kind of scripted and outlined the show today. So we'll stay on track. Last time
It worked really well today.
Yeah. Look at that.
I
You've
thought
only
so.
been talking about this for a couple of months now.
I'm not saying nothing. Not saying nothing.
I am Brian with a Y, your favorite guy from Studio B out here in Granite City, next to the Garden Gate Tea Room, the Downtown Diner, and the Board Gamery. Also Studio C, where you can do your private events, host a watch party of any kind, birthday party, whatever. This has been In the Metro. You are awesome, amazing, and fantastic. And don't let anybody make you feel different. Thank you guys for checking us out. Have a great week.